And movies hide things in, like, you're in plain sight.
Right. Movies hide things inside your body.
That's an Easter egg.
It's an Easter egg. Hi, friends. Host Eric here with Rachel, and we are hosting an episode of Talking with Famous People live! Exclamation point. You can catch all the live, real-time action of living people living their lives alive, lively,
right now.
Right here. And as you can see, it's pretty exciting.
It really is.
I know that I'm feeling a rush of powerful adrenaline thrusting through my body because it is pretty thrilling to be live. Anything could happen.
Anything can happen.
There could even be a blooper, an unanticipated blooper. Might make the blooper reel.
That's Bravo's,
Watch
signature.
What Happens Live.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know about
You
Bravo.
know.
I was married to an ENTP.
Oh, my gosh.
I know about Watch What Happens Live. That Andy Cohen guy, I tell you.
Yeah. Don't you think he's an instigator?
Well, not just that, but I think he might have a bit of a drinking problem.
I think you're probably right. That show stirs up a lot of problems.
Well,
that's why it's its own show, I guess.
Mrs. Mom, I'm glad you brought us back to the title of this video. Because what I just learned at the age of 49 is that song says, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie. But I have always thought it said like a big piece of pie. And I always thought, well, that's a silly lyric. Why would the moon hit your eye like a piece of pie? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And I joked, I'm like, the second lyric is when the rain hits your head like a big piece of bread. That's a cold one because it's very cold here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it is very cold.
Anyhow, I said my lyric makes just as much sense as the first one. When the rain hits your head like a big piece of bread makes just as much sense as when the moon hits your eye like a big piece of pie. Right. She said, "But it's pizza pie here." Oh, that makes a lot more sense because pizzas are round, you see. But crazy the things that you can be misperceiving about until you're almost 50 years old. I thought that song, always thought that song said piece of pie because I guess I must have just heard it that way when I was a kid and never revisited the question, is my guess.
Yeah, I mean, wait, Winston's mom, did Dean Martin sing that song? Because if he did, like that.
When the sun hits your nose like a big yellow rose, that's amore. I like the hand. Excuse me while I kiss this guy.
That's great.
Yeah. The thing is, most of those like childhood or young youthful misperceptions you get corrected along the way, right? So when Delilah was little, she and I both thought that this song that we heard on TV, it didn't say the name of it, but it was in one of those like the best love songs all together in one CD package kind of commercial, and I had on there "'Cause I'm Your Lady and You're My Man" by Celine Dion. Perhaps you're familiar with it. 'Cause I'm your lady. Anyway, when we watched the commercial, Delilah and I didn't know the song except for on the commercial. And we both heard it as, and we both thought it was called or referred to it as Osamio Lady. Because that's what it sounded like she was saying. Osamio Lady.
It does. It really does, though.
And then one day, Delilah, like talking to Candace in the car about it, and she's like, "Candace, do you know that song, Osamio Lady?" Like, Osamio Lady? I have no idea what you're talking about. And then she sang some of it. Like, you know that song? It goes like, oh, some young lady. And Candace said, that's not what that song says. That's not what those lyrics are. And I was like, really? Oh, I thought it was a some young lady too.
I thought it was sorry, lady. I know that there are definitely lyrics and songs that I've done that too as well. I can't picture.
It's not just song lyrics too, because there was a time back when I was chilling with Corey and Delilah was little and Charlie, his kid, was little too, and Corey started getting into these appliques, and he and I was like, oh yeah, those appliques are pretty cool, and I started looking into them too, like looking them up on the internet and shit, and I told Candace, I'm like, yeah, Corey's showing me he got all these appliques from eBay, and they're pretty rad. And then you can like iron them on. What are you talking about? And I showed her one. She's like, those are called appliques. For Corey, I didn't know what they were called. We didn't know how to say the word. It looked like the word looks like it's pronounced applique.
Applique, yeah.
I'm not in a bar dropping mood right now. I'm kind of in a well, I kind of had I'm kind of suffering from some poor sleep hygiene because like I was falling asleep while we were watching this Fire Force, but I was too hungry to really go to sleep right then. So then I got up enough to feed myself, and we went inside to watch a little football, and then I was gonna go to bed and just call it a night. But then I got my evening burst of energy, which is not enough to actually be a burst of energy per se, but it's enough to make me want to live stream before I go to sleep.
That's
even
good.
though it's only 6:30 in the evening right now. I didn't sleep last night, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay, Rachel. It's a natural consequence of doing amphetamines.
Yeah. I woke up late this morning. The milk is in the fridge. How do I open up the garage?
You just gotta try it a couple times.
Okay.
It still works.
It's dying.
Yeah, like you'll push 7, you'll put it, and then you push enter, and it go blink, 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 not go up, and you have to do it again. Sometimes you have to do it 3 times.
Okay. Well, it's not. I don't think it's raining right now, so I'm gonna try and get it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Winston's mom, thank you for saying that. The instrumental one has lyrics and vocals, but I wasn't happy with the way they came out. I want to redo the vocals. So, I liked how it sounded as instrumental anyway. So I put it up there. But the lyrics are about that show. So, The other song was a freestyle about the full frontal shaming clinic. Full frontal shaming clinic is one of my businesses. It's going to be in Eric's Ridiculous Business Mini Mall. It's going to be Food Cube Caliente, more than just condiments, all licenses all the time, full frontal shaming clinic. All of these businesses are going to be in one mini mall. There's more businesses I have too, just that. Oh yeah, you and what army? The internet, the thread winning internet service. Well, the garage door is very straightforward, except the problem is the pad you push in the code to make the garage door go up, that has a battery. I think the battery's getting weak in it. So I think we need to replace that battery. Hello, Lauren and Nicole. How are you doing today? Are you hunting pheasants? Today's International Pheasant Hunting Day. We have a garage. I live at my dad's house. I'm Farmall hot, so definitely not rich. That's a good strategy, leaf trimmer. You don't want to give anybody any ideas. Hey, you know, we don't have those kind of expectations with each other. It's just, it's like it's an open thing.
Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about Leaf Eater and Lauren and Nicole.
Oh.
Not me.
They're open?
No, they're not really. I'm just making jokes. They don't even live in the same country. Oh, right. Yes. Scrotum Paints. Andre Z, thank you for reminding me of another business in my business complex. Scrotum Paints Incorporated. Our paints represent all the scrotums of the world, all of the scrotal shades. Those are the only shades of paint that Scrotum Paints
No.
makes.
Are our scrotum paints, colored paints, based on people's real scrotums?
Well, it is a service that Scrotum Paints provides. You can get your scrotum color matched at Scrotum Paints. And we will be opening a sister store for women. If they'd like to get their vagina matched, color matched. But that's what we just don't want to expand too fast. So we're opening the scrotum market first because, that's an excellent idea there, Farmall Hot. So what I'm thinking is, we'll definitely want to get what's his name, Morgan Freeman's scrotum, because I think that'll be a popular color of scrotum.
That would be.
I heard that hundreds of people ditched Switzerland ski resort just before quarantine went on. Fled the country. Yeah. I also I think there's a lot of market to be milked on exploiting issues of body sheen and brassiness.
Brassiness, yeah.
Now, because not just your head of hair up here that can experience problems with that. So, a beard brassiness reducing hair product, for example, is my beard too brassy? Now I'm worried. I hadn't been thinking about it before, but now I'm worried. Now that I've learned about brassiness. Switzerland's singing ban was the funniest thing of 2020. Switzerland banned singing. Did I see a nurse who fainted after getting vaxxed? No, but people faint sometimes for getting poked by needles. You like Jennifer Lopez's rump paint? The interesting thing is Jennifer Lopez actually does paint her rump. She says, I can't trust the photographer or the production company to do the photoshopping. I'm going to Photoshop my ass in real life. And so she goes to Scrotal Paints and contracts us to do J-Lo's ass.
Wow.
It's basically brown. Here's a little. I'm gonna let you in on a little industry secret. When somebody comes in to get their scrotum color matched, pretty much you can give them any kind of pinkish, grayish, pinkish shade, and they'll be like, "Hey, okay." I don't even check really. I just always say, "Hey, it dries a little different." It looks a little different when it dries. So don't expect it to be a perfect match to your scrotum.
It does dry differently.
When the moon hits your ass after smoking some grass. There's a lot of good possibilities for that lyric construction there.
There really is.
Around how much a month do I make off my typings? It depends on the month. Maybe about $1,000. Maybe like 1,200. I don't know. Not a lot. What's DXM? It sounds like some sort of serious satellite radio station.
Yeah.
Dextromethorphan? Dextrometh orphan. Hi, I'm Dextromethorphan. Will you be my daddy? No Dextromethorphan. I won't.
It also makes me think of DMX, I'm not gonna lie.
I wonder if DMX takes DXM. Good question.
Who's a tall version of DMX?
Extra medium. How did cough medication come up yet? I don't know. Abraham brought it up. I've never heard of dextromethorphan before.
Me neither.
Have you found a source for mermentine yet? I don't know what mermentine is.
Me neither.
Hi, Mataz Hayek.
Hey, Mataz, Hayek. Right now, I'm eating a bowl of frosted mini wheats cereal. It's really good.
It is. Cereal is really good. I had it this morning.
Oh, you did? Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was the SI kick in the pants I needed. I'm pretty sure I'm an ENTJ. Best way to confirm? Well, you pay me $100 to do it, or you do it yourself. You do an SI test and find out if you're SI pole. Like, can you give me a sequence of insignificant events of stuff you did today that's not worth remembering, such as, well, first I got up and then I went to the bathroom and then I brushed my teeth, but I realized, oh shit, well, there's a toothpaste outside, so I got a new tube of toothpaste from the thing down there. Yeah. A couple of different things. Montez Hayek. I mean, in my most job capacity, I'm a debate coach or an English teacher, or do both.
Both.
So when is remember things, is it visual host Eric? I don't know what that question means.
I don't either.
Her hair is more teal than green. Looks more blue than teal.
Yeah, it doesn't look, this color, because I dyed it. I bleached it and dyed it. That's why.
What do you do for a living, Montaz Hayek? Do you...
Hi, marigold flower.
Hi, marigold flower. Do you... COVID made you clean pools for a living? No, I don't like to watch Fantasia.
Nothing. My dad is rich. What?
I asked what they did.
Oh.
That's unfortunate. You know, if I were, as I am, empowered to play around a lot, I'd get a lot of shit done, which I do. You know, I wouldn't waste the opportunity like you.
Oh,
LA's not the epicenter of COVID. All I know is I have no idea what the problem is, but I'm sure it's COVID. whatever it is. That's all the 2020 has taught me. Why can't I go to the store at 11 p.m.? Oh, well, COVID. Why? Well, because it's nocturnal, I guess. It's a nocturnal virus. Fuck my life, I'm now!
It's a nocturnal virus.
Oh, it's now the epicenter.
Oh, it's now?
Well, you said you did nothing. People who do nothing are wasting their time, Mr. Montaz. Because you're just a fucking spite monkey, and I've had you pegged from the first second you got here, obviously.
Yeah.
You're not fooling me. You never fool me. You never fool me. Sometimes I play along, sometimes I don't. You never fool me.
You color match people's samples for a living? Hey!
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think the most important new business that I have in mind, and I'm gonna, realize someday, is full frontal shaming clinic. The full frontal shaming clinic, you too can be taken down a notch. So, your friends or family can get it for you as a birthday present. And you go and you stand there naked in front of somebody who just critiques the shit out of you, like, well, you think you're attractive? It's an interesting business model. You might think there's not going to be a lot of market for that, and you might be right. But on the other hand, I would happily give Mataz Hayek a gift certificate for the full frontal shaming clinic. You could go there and he could get shamed. That way, I wouldn't have to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he comes here to make me shame him here. He can go get shamed at the clinic, and I can make more money off of it that way. That's the thing. The full frontal shaming clinic is where all the spite monkeys can go when I ban them from here, so they can still get shamed by me, but then they have to pay for it that way. It'll only be $45, but they only get 5 minutes of shaming. So it's kind of a high hourly rate, but not outrageously priced in general.
No, it's
not. Like Montaz, Hayek, you got this shaming tonight for free.
How nice.
You're welcome. You are welcome.
In terms of memory, how do NI and SI differ, particularly in how they picture it?
Well, NI is not a form of memory. NI is identity recognition. So it's like, I know this is a lighter. No, you're not supposed to enjoy it, Abraham. Okay? If you enjoy it, you're not allowed to patronize the full frontal shaming clinic. Okay? No perverts.
Please have these. You got rules.
Just ontologically vulnerable people. We can shame into a sense of low self-esteem. That's the kind of client we're looking for at the full frontal shaming clinic.
Aww.
Well, look, it's not a conception. I was thinking about this a lot earlier. It's important to remember that your knowledge functions are always on an axis with an action function. So when I was thinking about the agent object subject thing in the car earlier, it occurs to me, well, I'm naturally going to have trouble. I keep having trouble coming up with, well, what exactly does it mean to be observing NE? And I think the reason is, well, I know kind of what it means. It means I recognize when something's too familiar and needs to be changed up a little bit in order to give it some snap. But but the reality is, because extroverted intuition is an action function, mostly I turn to my NI and my SI to know about my extroverted intuition. So the only kind of really agential extroverted intuition is that thing of saying, basically, of no, even that's introverted intuition. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Because like when I'm making a song or something, like the like organy part in that instrumental song I made earlier, I just move them randomly around in MIDI until it starts to sound like something, and then I kind of move it again and move it again and move it again until it sounds like, okay, that sounds good. I just try random shit until something sounds good. That's my NI, you know. The thing is, it makes sense then that I don't really function a whole hell of a lot as an agent when it comes in terms of extroverted intuition, because it is fundamentally a subject function. It's an action function. So I think it's good to think of the subject functions as the action functions and the interface functions, the agent functions as the knowledge functions, and the object functions as the deliberation functions. In other words, they're most naturally, yeah. I mean, Motaz Hayek, you're the only spite monkey here at the moment, unfortunately. You can go get your other spiteful friends to dislike me all you want. And of course you dislike me. I mean, after all, I shamed the living fuck out of you. Successfully, fully, wholly, and with great glee. Of course you're going to dislike me. I would suggest next time, don't come here and try to be spiteful in the first place. Then you won't get my foot shoved up your ass in such a dramatically public and humiliating way.
Marigold Flower asks, could a first slot NI and a first slot SI make it in a relationship like an INFJ and ISTJ? What could be the challenges and successes?
INFJ and ISTJ, I don't think so. INFJ and ISFJ, maybe for a while. I think the INFJ would get tired of the ISFJ's henpeckery, and the ISFJ will get tired of the INFJ's sort of superior distance.
Yeah.
like you, eventually the ISFJ is going to start thinking about the INFJ. You think you're too good for practical world problems or something.
Yeah.
Don't you? But the fact is, increasingly I realize just how, well, Winston's mom said last night about Delilah being normal made me realize, oh shit, you know what? It really is hard being an intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have trouble with all kinds, like, well, we get out of the car at the weed store. First of all, this is what it means to be an intuitard. To be an intuitard, we drive from the ATM to the weed store. It's pouring rain. I don't immediately see an easy parking space, so I do the normal thing I do, which is I just go as far away as I have to go so I can easily park. So I don't have to, parallel park or whatever. It's an easy open spot. I was talking with Rachel the whole time about some idea. I don't remember. Oh, we're talking about I think the Korean. We were talking about the Korean fusion reactor.
Yes.
And then I was talking about CERN, the particle accelerator.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I was engrossed in talking. She was engrossed in listening, basically. And we both got right out of the car in the pouring rain and started walking with flip-flops on. Both of us had flip-flops on.
Mm-hmm.
Like a solid block plus to the weed store where I parked so far away, oblivious to the fact that, think a little bit, Eric, we get almost all the way to the weed store and we see someone coming out of the weed store who's got her mask on, and we go, oh, fuck, we left our mask in the car. We're already soaking wet.
Yeah.
So we get back to the car, and then I say, okay, now let's try to be a little bit smart about this. And we got a parking space closer, and we waited in the car till the right moment to go, and we made it successfully into the weed store and back. But that's the kind of shit that's just an ongoing challenge. It's like at no point did it occur to me today to put on shoes and socks, even though it was freezing cold and pouring rain all day.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to me until after I got back home, and I said, I should have put on my boots.
I had a thought. I did have a thought. I was like, oh, maybe I should change my shoes. But I was like, then I was like, honestly, it's raining so hard right now. Even my sneakers would have been like gotten wet. You know, they would have definitely gotten wet.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Hot.
yeah.
That's very kind of you.
More
I
Among
appreciate
Us.
it.
Well, for that.
UNSZN. I think there's one part of this is that you're a subject type. So when you're a subject, it means you're focused on what you're doing in the world and or saying, depending on the kind of action you're taking, and you're not focused on what you know. So the reason I say NI is not really a form of memory, well, it's like object permanence is clearly a form of memory. In other words, when I learned that covering my eyes and then uncovering them, this thing didn't disappear and reappear, but that it stayed there the whole time, even when I wasn't seeing it, that's clearly a form of memory. However, when I recognize that this is a lighter, no matter what angle I look at it, that's something different than memory, because there are actually infinite possible angles in which I could look at this, and I don't remember them all as a means of understanding its identity. I use something else called intuition, and intuition is not memory, but it does link knowledge to stuff, objects. In other words, it's knowledge about identity, but that's not the same thing as memory.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not everything that's relevant for TE is a form of memory. My penis is extremely relevant for TE. I use it to hammer in nails, screw in screws, pull up roofing tiles, and it's not a form of memory.
My NI and SI are definitely linked, but also like I feel like NIs just like love to be consumed by like the world a little bit. Like as a kid, I was like definitely a television, like radio, entertainment. Like I like pop culture. I think INFJs really enjoy like pop culture stuff.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
Assuming.
well, yeah, and it makes. I was thinking in the car when we were near the ATM, as I periodically do with Rachel. Oh, I'm talking too much. I'm expressing. I'm putting too much information and making her be the receiver of information all the time. I have to remember, just as I want to be the putter of information all the time, being an NI, Dom, means you're most comfortable being the receiver of of stuff. It's you find it more naturally comfortable to not have to talk as much,
Yeah, I do. Actually, it's to the point where even last night when Delilah was here and it was you and me and Delilah, I was thinking, oh, maybe I can just like hang out over there for a little bit and just have them two like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, Joseph Louders. How people define stuff in MBTI is mostly nonsensical, and the reason for that is because to correctly define them, you got to understand both that they are processes, and that we understand them, that process as an object of analysis from different angles. So, for example, if I'm talking about a disinterested calculus, that's clearly not necessarily mutually exclusive of an interested calculus, and also clearly potentially mutually exclusive of an interested calculus. In other words, if the call really did go in my team's favor, and I say that call should go in my team's favor, and then it does, that doesn't mean I use a disinterested calculus, right? Even though I was correct, I could still be using an interested calculus. Similarly, I could be using a disinterested calculus and still be incorrect. So there's no guarantee of correctness. But what we are able to ascertain for sure there is that they are different things. They're different attentional manners. and that there's a meaningful distinction being made. Once you start being able to make meaningful distinctions, you've mistaken your own capacity to make arbitrary, unsubstantiated claims with the thing you're making claims about. So, I can point out that ducks are water birds. That doesn't mean that I can make them elephants, right? It's like, it is a meaningful distinction being drawn, right? Well, I'm quite confident, Joseph Letters, that you're not prepared to actually have this conversation and or not serious about having it. You're simply trying to be inciting and or trolling and or spidey. But you might not be. Regardless, you're not ready to negate what I'm saying if you are ready to negate MBTI. Because if you are correctly negating MBTI, then what you'd be saying is somebody who did this right would do meow, meow, meow. And then you check and go, oh, Eric, that did do meow, meow, meow. If you were serious. So the nice thing is it's pretty easy for me to tell nowadays if somebody's serious or not. If they're serious, they want to know what my position actually is about specific matters that they find concerning with MBTI. Well, this has always seemed arbitrary to me in MBTI. What is your comment on that, Eric? It's a serious question, right? Your overarching critiques aren't serious because they don't address anything specific. Just because there's a subjective calculus doesn't mean that everything you say about it is arbitrary, obviously. Because the DSM is what we will call absolutely relative rather than relatively absolute. In other words, it's not built on meaningful distinctions. It's built on arbitrary distinctions, especially for things like behavioral disorders, like ODD, for example, oppositional defiant disorder, or ADHD. Those kind of disorders, those are what you call standard-based rather than rule-based phenomena. So something like a psychotic break is essentially a rule-based phenomenon. It's a bright line. It takes no discretion to meaningfully distinguish between a psychotic break and not a psychotic break. In contrast, how much oppositionalness or contrariness comprises a disorder's worth is a totally discretionary matter. So the DSM is full of garbage like that. The DSM is full of empirics without any link to any kind of theory that's meaningfully explaining anything.
Can I answer Legends Fall question about like reconciling something about NI and like I think actually NI DOMs, at least for me as an INFJ, I have a really hard time with understanding who I am. I think maybe that's because FE Tool, like I'm constantly like taking on traits of the people and taking on opinions and feedback from people that are in my current, residence, usually, like wherever I am, like that's what I like try to adapt to. So the being interested in the mystical kind of side of things, which I don't think all INFJs are, but for me at least, was a way for me to understand myself. So I'm looking outside to find what's inside. It's weird, I know, but
the thing to note about that is this is an example of how NI is not memory. It's even when there's an issue that is best served by remembered realities, such as, let's see, are Eric and I a good match for each other? That's something that she has plenty of actual data on from her SI memory. But she still chooses often, if she's feeling stressed or whatever, to turn externally to an introverted intuition approach, namely have some universal explanation for why we're compatible rather than the actual concrete particular information.
I like both. I gotta, say, like, I don't know. It just like is cool to me that we have both. It's like it matches up. It's like.
How do I define intuition? I mean, I would define introverted intuition as the universal knowledge function, and or if you want to say, okay, well, Eric, be really mechanically precise about it. In other words, Joseph Letters accept that this is a mapping, a model, so there's gonna be some mechanical approximations, and I want to hear it mechanically approximated so I know you're serious. Okay, fine, good. So we've got 4 fields, and objects can appear on all those fields, and the attentional manners relate to the flow of information from the fields between the agent and the fields and the objects. So we have a great example of it with the internet. We can see how an ecosystem can be modeled successfully in the internet by breaking it down into flows of information. We can put information in a field. We can get information by Googling something. We can receive information unbidden when we see an ad, or we can interface as I'm interfacing with you right now. Now, this particular interface is primarily an example of me demonstrating SI. I've had this conversation many times before. I've given this little spiel many times before. Well, but I mean, I know what I had for breakfast this morning without conscious reasoning. Am I using my intuition, Joseph Letters? Point is, we use the word knowledge to mean 2 different things. At least 2 different things. And so the first job we have when we're trying to understand cognitive functions is really to taxonomy the ways that people use words, certain words that people are using in when they're talking about cognitive functions, and to try to operationalize our definitions so that we can meaningfully do discursive work on the thing. Which is to say, it is the case that no matter how many different people come up with models of astrology, they will not be logically superior to one another in some defensible way, universally. Okay, so in other words, I'm not going to win a TI argument that Vedic astrology is better than Maya astrology. There's no way for me to win that. However, note that not all kinds of models are like that. For example, I can win an argument that says plate tectonics is a better explanation of continental drift than expanding Earth. Why can I win that argument but not the astrology argument? Because certain kinds of phenomena and process explanations, once you apply definition, you lose its meaning. Okay, you're just, so you're either TI polar or a spite monkey. I'm so glad. Please dislike some more. You know what I want you to do, Motaz Hayek? I would love for you to try to beat my record, okay? Help me beat my record. Let's see what my record is. And thank you for still being here, by the way, through the timeouts. I love the fact that you're just sitting here through the timeouts. That's much appreciated. Your sacrifice is highly valued. Most disliked video was just the other day, in fact.
Just the other day.
Not long ago. It was just December 12th. December 12th. And look at this. Oh, my God. 40 likes, but 201 dislikes. And it was so exciting. If you can possibly, Motaz Hayek, get this video above 201 dislikes, I will give you a gold star.
Oh, I will too.
The thing is, when people come in and they think they can attack me with when they clearly have no concept of how I roll, right? It's like, go fuck yourself. Are you kidding me? Do you think, Motaz Hayek, do you actually think that I care about what you do disliking this video? Are you actually that fucking insane to think that I care whether you dislike this video? I mean, I do now because you hilariously presumed that that's important to me. 201 thumbs down in like about 36 hours.
It was bananas.
It was this month. You can't even touch that. You can't touch that
honestly,
with your thumbs down.
Video.
And it's a great video too.
Yeah.
Turns out Albanians are sensitive about
fucking
hats.
fun.
That's fine, Desert INTJ. Fair enough. We did win the World Series, so you're perfectly free to thumbs down me for wearing a Dodger shirt. I get it. Nobody likes the winner. That's why I have so many spite monkeys. Nobody likes the winner.
Oh my gosh! Did you know? Oh my god.
No, I will not, Marigold.
Can I say that like I'm like super excited that like you just said that because I have always been hated for being a Yankee fan. And I'm like, what the hell? Like I was like, why? Because like we win shit.
Yep.
Like sorry, Mets, but like you guys are ridiculous. You always get there. You always get there and you fucking show.
Well, you know, Rachel, you've also have got to experience the other end of it now.
Yeah.
As a Yankees fan. 'Cause see, I went through this as a USC fan back when USC was like the best college football team in the country, and people would hate on USC. But and now it's been a long time since we've been really good. And now people are like, I'm rooting for you guys, you plucky guys over there.
Wow.
It's kind of like the Yankees now too.
The Yankees are that now. But you're a winner is what I mean. And like I've dated a lot of losers who like to be losers so they could have like an edge, you know? Fuck that shit.
I mean, the key thing here, Alex, is you're trying to sidestep your verb recall here. You're trying to sidestep the memory issue with the verb recall. Recall implies memory. So I don't have to have ever seen a guy before sometimes in the world to know he's a cop, right? Like you see a guy walking in a certain way and he's got a certain kind of mustache and he's driving a certain kind of car or truck and he's carrying himself in a certain way. Even if he's off duty, you just go like, that's a cop. Now, no, I'm not recalling anything, at least consciously. Now, true, my NI is informed by my lifetime's worth of experiences. So I've picked up unconsciously or consciously lots of cues about various things like that, right? But sometimes my NI might be wrong. Maybe it's not a cop. It's just a guy who likes to pretend like he's an off-duty cop, you know, and carries himself very much like one, but is actually just a security guard or something, you know?
NI is finicky.
So NI is not necessarily right, but note that regardless, it's not recalling information. It's intuition. It's knowing about identity. And knowing about identity, the thing that differentiates intuition from memory is that intuition doesn't have to have direct experience with something to get it right. That's what makes it seem magical. Your husband thinks he's right? Well, does he agree with me? If so, there's a good chance he's right.
Yeah, it's true. That's something that I've learned being with you is that you really are like mostly right.
Alex Rodriguez,
Rarely
no,
wrong.
let me apologize to you, Alex Rodriguez. What I did was let a little bit of fighting with some trolly people spill over, and you got hit by some friendly fire. I was punching this guy over there, and my hand just kept punching and went right into you. So I'm sorry about that. It's me who should apologize, Alex Rodriguez, because you were asking a perfectly reasonable question, and I was still in adversary mode.
It's that 8.
I don't know. You said something to piss me off. I don't trust your authenticity. You look and smell like a spite monkey, but I could be wrong.
Ooh, bong rip.
Yeah, bong rip time.
I wanted to.
No, I mean, I don't think NI is just about identity in the sense that it renders into intuitive objects dynamic systems that have duration. And so there is an extrapolation of like the current dynamics of a system out across time. and that links to NI as well. And so, yeah, I mean, it is pattern recognition in general. But when I'm trying to explain it in terms of its sort of like machine code essence, I would call it understanding that things have identity. You know, it's as simple as that. But yeah, it is pattern recognition. Is how it plays out. But the other thing to remember is being an NI Dom, for example, means you are an agent foremost. Being an NE Dom means I'm a subject first. I'm a subject, she's an agent. That's sort of compatible. But note that because I'm a subject with a subject type first, that I don't really have a lot of agency high anywhere. My agency functions, as you say, SI and NI, are 4th and 5th, respectively. So, Evelyn, the reason I haven't made it yet, actually, is I don't quite feel ready to articulate even quite exactly what the problems are. So I'm still working out and spending a lot of time silently sitting next to Rachel in the car, like trying to process shit. No, I mean, what I would point out there, Joseph Letters, is there are two kinds of experiences, or there are two kinds of time. Okay, there's a real-time experience of something. So if I have a strong emotional reaction to something, then I'm experiencing that strong emotional reaction. And then there's a representation of that. So it's true that I feel sad is a very low resolution representation of actually feeling sad. That most of the information, if not almost all of it in that instance, is lost. Okay? So what's critical to note, though, is that only some things in life are inherently real time. In other words, inherently lose meaning when they get converted to turn-based. And the reason for that is because there's plenty of shit in life that's naturally turn-based. So when we talk about like whether or not something is justified morally, that's a logic-based critique. And so it doesn't need to link to any it doesn't need to link to physicalities in the same way to attain legitimacy, because it's legitimate. The legitimacy claimed for it is, I claim this has legitimately been mapped, that we've done the mapping techniques correctly. So this is one of the most challenging things I have to deal with in life, is what Nicholas Watson here says. It's surprising that Eric can leave that house with having such a big head. So this is something I've had a problem with for many years, actually. People attack me. I'm compelled to defend myself. I say true things about myself, and then I get accused of bragging.
Yeah.
And, it's like, this is why spite monkeys are dangerous, because first of all, I don't want to be a douchebag. I don't want to be an asswipe. And I also know that I kind of am, I'd like to not be. But people people roll in here, and day after day after day, I mean, literally day after day after day, it is, you think you're the fastest gun in the West, Eric. Let me show you.
Yeah, it is.
And they bring nothing to the party. Here I am armed with nuclear missiles, and they've brought their slap. And they think they're equipped to actually battle me in some meaningful way, in some meaningful exchange of ideas, but they don't even have the slightest idea what I'm saying. They come in here and negate me without knowing what I'm saying. All they know is, I know Eric's wrong. I don't know what I say. I just know I'm wrong.
Yeah. I'm FE. I'm definitely more FE than FI. I think I value FE more than I do FI.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it can be a good tool for manipulation. It ultimately doesn't work though for any of these spite monkeys. I've gone through this many times. Waves of spite monkeys, you know, waves of attempts to FE delegitimize me or TE delegitimize me without ever addressing what I'm saying. I've gone through this myriad times.
No. Look, I don't know if it's not about acting fake. Actually, it's not for me anyway.
Alex kind of sort of ish. Go ahead, Rachel. Sorry.
For me, it's just I don't know. I try to be nice to everyone that I meet.
Except the devil.
Yeah.
Whenever the devil comes around, she's like, "Get out of here!"
Yeah. You devil, you. I don't want you.
Semantically winning, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, you know, the thing is, it is true. I tend to win the verbal exchanges, and I tend to not be dishonest about shit, which means, you know, it's like if somebody's accusing me of like having no real world success to worth calling myself a debate coach, I'm going to point to actual real world success that I've had. Right? If somebody says you're just talking out your ass, you don't really care about which arguments are stronger, I'm going to point to lots of proof to the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
You know, that the only thing I care about really is which arguments are stronger, and I don't really care about anything other than that. So, in fact, you know, it's like people come in assuming I'm wrong in the same way that they're wrong, and they're completely wrong about that. I can be wrong about things, but I'm not wrong about the things they think I'm wrong about. I'm wrong about shit that they can't attack me on. Like, I'm wrong about how much I'm going to like this person 2 weeks from now. Like, oh, I met this dude at the store. He's super cool, and we're going to hang out today. And then I bet this is my new best friend. And then, like, the next day, I'm like tired of him already, you know? It's like that kind of shit I'm terrible at knowing or analyzing. It takes me a long ass time to do any kind of feelings analysis that makes me go, okay, I felt my way through that. It's super slow and agonizing.
I totally get what you're saying, Valerie Elwood. I don't necessarily like. I find having like, I don't know how to say it.
Just smile and nod. You just smile and nod. Most people won't even notice. It's that simple.
Effie, yeah.
I mean, like if she's saying like, I don't know how to pretend I'm happy, just smile and nod. That's it.
That's the answer. See?
Motaz Hayek, come on now. You're not subscribed to my channel.
Don't do
monkey.
it. Someone says change the subject. Also, just be yourself, and the people who like are your soul fam will like understand who you are and like you for you. You won't like have to smile and nod.
Bring up the subject of hedgehogs. Everybody finds hedgehogs adorable.
Oh my gosh, they are. Keep some pictures on your phone of hedgehogs and be like, look at this hedgehog. I saw this on Instagram the other day. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Do you guys want to see the most adorable Instagram picture?
Yeah!
It's a baby meow. It's a baby meow.
Yeah.
Raccoons are great. Raccoons are great indeed.
I used to like wear a lot of makeup in high school, and I would sometimes like get raccoon eyes, and I related to them. I was like, yo, I'll take that on. Sure. Call me a raccoon.
No, giving enough people enough rope to hang themselves is a good strategy. But that's you're bipolar, not understanding that's not FI. That's a TI thing. See, TI doesn't feel obligated to provide information that's not asked. So it's like What's my opinion about what person Z here is saying or doing? I have no opinion about it until I have a winning opinion about it. I'm not going to say anything about it until they've given me the ammunition I need to make sure I win the exchange. So they've got to have fucked up in a way that I know how I'm going to approach the argument and that they can't win. Otherwise, I'm not going to bring it up at all.
Smart.
You know what's great about MBTI, though, Joseph Letters, is that it keeps haters like you sticking around the channel, spending their time in time out, periodically dropping a comment, displaying their failure to be logical or recognize that some things can be modeled, either more successfully or less successfully. You know, not rocket science. Things can be modeled. Yeah. Processes can be modeled. And there are more and less correct models. So, you know. Anyway, this is the sort of shit I get. Why? Because of what Nicholas Watson says. You know, or what he said earlier about me having a big head and seeming arrogant. Why do I seem arrogant? Well, I mean, when Joseph Letters, to some extent, represents the most common level of opposition to what I'm saying, I feel like, you know, like, obviously and legitimately, I feel like I'm intellectually an adult and Joseph Letters is intellectually a child. Now, Joseph Letters probably is fairly close to an actual child, you know? Most of the people around YouTube are fairly young compared to me. He might be 20 or something, but most importantly, he's probably Cloud and he's probably an ESFP. And that's his problem. He's never going to understand anything.
You know what's funny? My ESFP, like, friend who, and I will always say this, that, like, she came into my life when I really didn't have a lot of friends, and I made a lot of friends through her, so I was like, we had a lot of fun. She was a good roommate, like, for fun. Like, we got along well, but, like, once, like, I was going back to New York, I think she kind of, like, knew that, like, the friendship probably wasn't gonna be anymore, and she wasn't really happy that we didn't get our deposit back on our place that we rented while we were in Kutztown, and she blamed it on me, even though she's the one who hung, like, mirrors on the walls and stuff and, like, nailed stuff in, and the other girl's boyfriend, like, punched a hole through our, like, stairs, and so, like, I'm not the reason why he
was really mad.
He's such a douchebag.
He was super
INFP.
mad.
He's such an INFP. Ugh.
No offense.
No offense. No offense. No offense. No offense. But he would. No offense. No offense at all. Like,
It's okay, Effie Tool. It's okay. Hi, Valerie Alwood.
Effie is exhausting.
So
I get you, Valerie. No, I don't mean that. I don't mean it at all. I just.
Well, INFP dudes have a much harder time of it in general.
Yeah. He and I got along mostly. He would smoke me up a lot. And I really fucking appreciated that. And plus, like, it was nice to have company. He dated an ESFJ. And I think they're married now, have kids. And my roommate Amanda dated him. And he would just, like, he would meet his friend who also went to the same college. And they would, like, wrestle in the house, like, drunk. And just, you know.
Drunk bro wrestling
yeah.
is, you know, at the TWFP summer camp, not the one that went awry last summer, not last summer, summer before last, but the one before that, we had, there was a drunken front yard MMA match between Katie and Nick. and Nick picked her up and body slammed her onto the grass. Well, you know, I thought this seems like a bad idea, but Audra, who is like really serious in MMA stuff, like, or Taekwondo, I guess.
I want to say that
I don't want you to retract that one, Nicholas Watson. That's
you don't have
a
to.
beautiful typo. Story of my life as well. When I was 9 and visiting a neighbor, I kept banging on this one mama, and it caused the mirror in the bathroom to fall and shatter.
And Ronnie Fox is right. It was drunk dudes, and they literally were wrestling. And I'm not surprised that they were wrestling because Pennsylvania loves wrestling. I don't know what it is, but it's like really high ranked as like an important sport in Pennsylvania.
I have some thoughts about those kind of links between authoritarianism, fascism, or whatever, and personality type and or politics. So there have been studies that show that conservative politics link more to authoritarianism or whatever. I think that just look around and you'll see that the pendulum swings, and authoritarianism links to whatever's totalizing. Whatever's predominant attempts to totalize. So the only thing that keeps us safe from authoritarianism is non-totalizing dogmas. That's what I think about it anyway.
Duels 1969, we are alien creatures. We're bizarre people. Like, sometimes I think that, like, I always mistake SE and TE.
Yeah, you do. I think the thing is, INFJs and INFPs both recognize how the other one has a deep awareness of how actions impact other people. And then eventually they realize, but they're coming at it from the opposite angles. And that it's absolute values for INFPs and it's only instrumental for INFJs.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately the point of alienness.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what makes you an illegal alien.
Illegal?
Not you, but I mean the INFP. Is the illegal alien in your country, and you're the illegal alien in her country.
Totally.
It works like that.
Yeah.
And that's why if you are visiting an INFP country, you have to pick fruit. But if she's visiting INFJ country, she has to pick fruit.
I like this country that I'm in right now. I want to play with my cards, so I'm going to shuffle and see what comes out.
All right.
Can you maybe pull some for me?
Sure. I'll pull some of these here for Rachel. Oh my gosh. Did you see what Mo Tess Hayek said? You want to talk about burning? He said, go to sleep, old people.
Old people.
Ouch! Ouch!
I guess you don't even know how old we are.
Man, the reason I need to go to sleep isn't because I'm old. It's because I stayed up all night on speed. Yay! And the reason you're wrong isn't because you're stupid, it's because you're spiteful.
Oh. Thanks, Valerie Alwood. I would say we're kids too.
Listen, Mom, I assume you're talking about the guy who makes my sausages, my breakfast sausages.
Right, Jimmy D.
Well, you know, formerly named John, but goes by Jimmy.
Oh,
Let's see here.
John. Oh.
Rachel, here is your fortitude. Where you put your feet down. I say this card is. Which one is it?
The Ace of Wands.
Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands. That's your fortitude, okay? Now, here's your Tinder bit. Here's your Tinder bit. Somebody wants to get you.
Oh.
To get you on your SI, your Tinder bit. What's
That
this
is
one
a Tinder
called?
bit. 7 of Pence.
7 of Pence. That's an SI card right there. Inventory accumulator.
Yep. Yeah. Did you right?
That's your Tinder
You're right. Your
bit.
mom always would say, "What? Save a penny." What'd she say? A penny.
Penny saves a penny earned.
Yeah.
Every little bit counts.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah, every little bit counts.
Every little bit counts. That's so cute.
And
Every little bit counts.
here's your hope.
Ace of Swords. Your penis.
Mm-hmm. That's my penis, the Ace of Swords.
Oh.
And last one here. So we got your fortitude, your tender spot,
Mm-hmm.
your hope, and now we're gonna have your glimmering path.
That's one of my favorite cards.
Glimmering path.
Intuition.
This is High Priestess, which is different than the Empress.
Yes.
So there you go. There's your reading.
Thanks,
Pretty good one,
Greg.
huh?
I think so.
Pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate indeed.
Is
The
this-
High Priestess and the Magician are two of a kind. You know, like they're a pair.
Oh, they're similar. Or?
Like if she was to come along, she'd be like,
Hey, Empress. I
"Hey,
recognize you.
magician, you came before
Oh, you
me."
mean the magician? I think that the Empress.
Magician, yeah.
The High Priestess and the magician.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay. You rebuke these tarot cards. I know you do, Lee Summer. The nice thing is,
Can I pull one for you?
yeah, sure. Lee Summer, you don't have to rebuke them. You can just say, "Shame on you, Eric. This is not TI validated." And I'll say, "You're right. It's not."
This is for Leaf Trimmer. He's new to this stuff.
Look, yeah. Lighten up. That's this card.
Yeah.
Lighten up,
Get
bro.
your little bag and throw it over your.
God doesn't want you to experience so much discomfort over some colorful cards. Yeah, sure.
For your 2 wives.
Okay, so we're gonna pull one for your first wife that you're gonna have. This top one right here. You know, it's gonna be a marriage you move right through on the chariot here. This is just remember, these are speculative reads, not predicting the future. And this is what the tarot thinks, not what I think necessarily. And in the second marriage, second marriage starts paying off in some pentacles, starting to stack coins. So it looks like your first wife maybe went to JCPenney's too frequently. You had to break up with her. Text is clearly inspired by LSD. Now Eric reminds me of the hippie in GTA San Andreas. I've never played that game, but if he wants to open up a business called Food Cube, he is like me. I'm 49 years old. That's how old I am. I'm about ready to wrap it up. It's been a fun live stream, a good live stream.
Yes, it has.
I want to thank you all for being here and sharing with me your sliver of the world's joy. We each are endowed with our own sliver of joy. It's just a sliver. That's all we'll ever get. There's no such thing as satisfaction or completion. But these slivers of joy, when we gather here together and put them together into a big circle, and then cut that circle into a triangle shape, then the moon hits my eye like a big piece of pie. And that's, my friends, amore.
Yeah.
It's a good ending right there. Very sensible ending. Yeah, you're not going to catch me get any implants, Nicholas Watson. I'm only going to get more bald from this point forward. You don't have to ever worry about me showing up with more hair.